I just want to make a couple of observations about how significant I think this is. Some of you may or may not know, but I had many years as a federal politician, and at a certain point I had responsibility for the National Road Safety Strategy, and I became aware in Canberra that Victoria actually was ahead of the other states for some reason. And the more you went into it, the more you could see that it was a researched and strategic approach. So I want to reiterate the Minister's opening point. A 41% increase in registrations, a 20% decrease in deaths and serious injuries on motorcycles and scooters. The rest of Australia, much the same increase in registration numbers and a parallel increase in deaths and serious injuries. Outcome, something is different in Victoria. Something is working in Victoria. And we have already been to Canberra to speak with the senior Commonwealth public servants about the difference. Let's have a look at what can be done collaboratively to try and improve the scene across the nation. So I say, as you do, Minister, there's a long way to go, but we're on the right track. Was to actually introduce the levy. Unfair, unpopular, created its own issues for the government. But the fact of the matter, as I see it anyway, is that it brought some clear financial focus to the policy area of rider safety, and the levy has enabled VMAC, Vic Roads, TAC, Victoria Police, the agencies involved, to leverage off budgets and produce much bigger spends and outcomes in motorcycle and scooter safety than could possibly have been achieved in the general budget areas. And that consultation process, as the Minister has said, has led to a much stronger collaborative arrangement between industry and rider groups, and the agencies and the outcomes are part of a collaborative approach. Recognises powered two-wheelers as growing at such a rate that riders and the benefits of riding, whether it's congestion, whether it's pollution, whether it's just simply that that's what they want to do, they have to be catered for in general transport policy and planning. Now, this is a first for an Australian government. And the Victorian government is actually saying, yes, it's risky, but there are benefits and people want to do it. So instead of discouraging it, let's accept this and turn our focus to maximising the benefits and making it safer. Now, Minister, it doesn't sound like much, but believe me, this is huge. And the players in this room today know the significance of the policy decision you've taken to actually embrace a transport and safety strategy as distinct from just a safety strategy. And we have to also have a look at lifting rider skills, lifting driver awareness, actually changing behaviour on the roads. Now, for a government to begin to invest in a long-term approach in rider training, skills, hazard perception, is another first in Australia. It may come as a surprise to many of you, but for decades, and I've been there, I know, I've been receiving the advice, for decades in Australia there's been a deep-seated policy belief that government should not be funding rider or driver training programs as a road safety measure. The rationale behind that was that there is no research to support the view that improved skills will make riders safer. In fact, the contrary view has always been that the more training they receive, the more risks they'll take and the worse the position will be. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but that's been the policy brick wall for riders and industry groups for over the 20 years that I've been involved in this field. And yet we all know, every Australia Post mail delivery person who rides the postie bike goes and does an induction training course and gets a refresher every year. Every emergency services driver goes and does special training and keeps getting refresher courses. In all these areas we believe that training and skills actually improve performance. yet we haven't been prepared to bite this bullet in this policy field. So Minister, I especially commend you for taking this risk. Now it's not widely known yet, but under our program going forward, the Minister has approved a $2 million spend on a research project where we're going to fund 2,000 riders through assisted rider training programs. This will be a first in Australia, and it will be done via a collaboration with industry, with training providers, with Vic Roads and MUARC. We're going to try and break the back of this lack of research. We are going to try and prove that training actually works. So, traffic environment. So Minister, it's a risk, and down the track somebody might say to you, who was that stupid minister who spent the money on that because look, they just now go out and take more risks and kill more of themselves. Won't happen. Won't happen. You're right to do this. So I commend the agencies. This again is a first for Australia. We picked up some ideas from overseas. There was a view that instead of just riding around booking riders, maybe we could build into the role model that police riders are, the fact that riders just look at them and know how good they are. Maybe we can use them to coach rather than book. And so over the last 6 months we've been running a little trial in collaboration with Victoria Police. Thousands of drivers and riders have been chatted to about errors they've been making, and very few of them have actually been booked. And the feedback that's coming back to us from both the police officers delivering the program and the riders and drivers being intercepted has been, this is fantastic, now I know what you're on about, sort of stuff. So it's a good strategy. And I look forward to a future which encourages more riding. You're backing a new approach to skills and skills development, and it's something Victoria is stepping ahead of again, and I think it's going to, I just hope it's going to produce us the results we all look for.